A 16-year-old girl stood in the center of a marble lobby, filthy and defiant, surrounded by security guards in expensive suits. Her clothes were stiff with grime. Her boots were held together with duct tape. She looked like something dragged up from the earth itself. Victor Meridian, one of the richest men in America, knelt before her in his $2,000 suit. His hands were shaking. "You are saying my son is alive," he whispered. But the police identified his body. "We buried. The funeral is tomorrow." The girl looked at him with eyes that had seen too much. "I do not care what the police say. I know what I heard. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. SOS. Your son is trapped in the sealed tunnel beneath Morrison Street. And if you waste one more second doubting me, he will be dead before sunrise." Victor's voice cracked. "How could you possibly know?" "Because I live down there," she said. "In the places you walk over every single day and never think about. I hear things no one else hears. I see things no one else sees. And 3 days ago, I heard your son tapping on the walls, begging someone to find him." The lead security guard stepped forward. "Sir, this is clearly a disturbed individual looking for attention or money. We should remove her immediately." The girl did not even look at him. "Tell me something, Mr. Meridian. What was your son wearing when he was taken?" Victor swallowed hard. "A brown leather coat, with a torn pocket, and the body they pulled from the river." "What was it wearing?" Victor went very still. "A nylon jacket. Cheap. Black." The girl nodded slowly. "So either your son changed clothes before he died, or that is not your son in the morgue." She leaned forward. "I can smell leather and cinnamon gum coming through the grate on 7th and Morrison, the grate that connects to the old subway tunnels, the ones they sealed after the earthquake. Your son is down there, and every second you stand here, he is dying." Victor looked into her eyes. "Have you ever heard something no one else could hear? Have you ever seen something everyone else missed? Have you ever known, absolutely known, that paying attention to one small detail could mean the difference between life and death? That is what this story is about. While an entire city mourned a dead boy, while police closed the case, while a father prepared to bury his only child, one girl who lived in forgotten tunnels heard what no one else did, and she refused to let it go. This is the story of how the person society threw away saved the one everyone thought was lost forever. But before we go into the darkness where this miracle happened, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, because this story will change how you see the invisible people around you, the ones you walk past every single day, the ones who might be the only thing standing between you and tragedy. Now, let me take you back to where it all started, down in the belly of the city, where a girl named Kira had been surviving for 2 years in places most people did not even know existed. Kira was 16 years old, small-boned and silent, with eyes that had learned to see in the dark. She lived in the forgotten places beneath the city, the old subway tunnels that had not run trains in 30 years. Down there, the air tasted like rust and earth. The walls wept moisture. But it was warm in winter, cool in summer, and no one asked questions she did not want to answer. She had been underground for 2 years, ever since the night her father did not come home, ever since the men came looking for money he did not have, ever since she understood that running was the only way to stay alive. Kira knew the tunnels the way most people knew their own homes. Every crack, every echo, every place where sound traveled strange. She knew which grates opened to the street above, which pipes carried voices from the buildings overhead, which walls were thin enough to hear the subway trains that still ran on the newer lines, parallel to her ghost station. She survived on what the city threw away: bread from bakery dumpsters, coins dropped through sidewalk grates. Sometimes she would surface at dawn to watch the street cleaners, waiting for dropped bills or discarded clothes. She never stayed long. Daylight made her nervous. She was not the only one living below. There were others. Old Marcus, with his shopping carts full of wire. Lena, who talked to herself in 3 languages. The couple who screamed at each other every night. But Kira kept apart. She had learned that attachment was a luxury the forgotten could not afford. Her bed was made of flattened cardboard boxes. Her blanket was a wool coat she had found behind a department store. She had a collection of plastic bottles positioned under leaking pipes to collect clean water. She had learned which mushrooms grew on the tunnel walls were safe to eat and which would make you sick. She had taught herself to move silently, to become invisible, even in the small underground community. Her father had been a communications officer in the Navy before he fell into debt, before the drinking, before everything collapsed. But before it all went wrong, he had taught her things: Morse code, how to read maps, how to navigate by sound when you could not see. He would tap on her bedroom wall at night, their secret language. 3 taps meant, I love you. 4 taps meant, you are safe. 5 taps meant, good night. She had not thought about those taps in a long time, until that Tuesday. That Tuesday started like any other. Kira woke, wrapped in her coat. She ate half a granola bar she had been saving. Then she walked her usual route through the tunnels, checking her water bottles, looking for anything useful that might have fallen through the grates above. That was when she felt it. Not heard it exactly. Felt it. A vibration in the ground that did not match the usual rhythm of the city above. Too rhythmic, too deliberate. She froze. Her heart kicked against her ribs. She pressed her palm to the tunnel wall. There it was again. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. SOS. Her whole body went cold. The tapping was coming from deeper in, from the sealed section that collapsed in the earthquake 15 years ago, the section the city had filled with concrete, cutting it off from the rest of the tunnel system, except Kira knew it was not completely sealed. There was a crawl space behind a loose panel where a maintenance shaft had been forgotten, barely wide enough for a child or a very desperate teenager. She stood there, hand against cold stone, and tried to convince herself she had imagined it. No one could be alive down there. No air circulation, no light, no way in or out. But the tapping came again, weaker this time. 3, 3, 3. Someone was dying in the dark, and she was the only person in the entire city who could hear them. Kira ran. While Kira was running through those tunnels, 60 stories above her, Victor Meridian stood at the window of his penthouse looking down at a city he no longer recognized. His son was dead. That was what the police said. That was what the medical examiner confirmed. That was what the evidence showed. Christopher Meridian, 16 years old, heir to a technology empire worth billions. Kidnapped from his private school 3 weeks ago, Victor had paid the ransom, $50 million, transferred within hours of receiving the demand. He would have paid anything, everything. Then the kidnappers went silent. A week passed with no word. Then a fisherman found a body floating near the commercial docks, bloated, damaged, face unrecognizable from time in the water. But the dental records matched. That was what they told him. The forensics team was certain. Case closed. The funeral was scheduled for the next day. A cathedral service. Thousands expected. Business partners, politicians, celebrities, all coming to mourn a boy they had never met. To be seen, mourning. Victor had refused to view the body. He told everyone it was because he wanted to remember Christopher alive. But the truth was darker. He could not bear to see what the river had done, what his money had failed to prevent. His wife had left him years ago, could not handle the pressure of their public life, the constant scrutiny, the endless demands. Now Christopher was gone too. Victor had everything and nothing. His phone had been ringing for days. He ignored it. What was there to say? What comfort could anyone possibly offer? Then the pounding started on his door. Not the polite knock of his assistant. Hard, urgent, desperate. Mr. Meridian, his head of security, James, did not wait for permission. He burst through the door, tablet in hand, face pale. Sir, there is a girl downstairs. She says she knows where Christopher is. She says he is alive. Victor turned slowly from the window. His voice was ice. Get out, sir. She is insistent. She is homeless, living in the subway tunnels, but she is saying things. Details. She says there is someone tapping SOS in the old station beneath Morrison Street, and she thinks, my son is dead, Victor said. The police identified him. This is someone looking for money or attention. Remove her immediately. James hesitated. She won't leave, sir. She is sitting in the lobby, refusing to move until you listen. Building management is threatening to call the police, but she keeps saying your son is running out of time. She says she can hear him. Victor closed his eyes. The cruelty of it. Some disturbed girl, feeding on his grief. Tomorrow, he would bury his child, and this was what the world offered. False hope dressed up as salvation. Tell her, he started. She knows about the coat, James interrupted quietly. Victor's blood stopped. What? Christopher's coat. The brown leather one with the torn pocket. She described it. Said she could smell the leather and something sweet, like cinnamon gum, Victor whispered. Christopher chewed it constantly. Had a pack in his coat pocket, always. The coat he was wearing when he was taken. The body in the river had been wearing a different jacket, a cheap nylon one. At the time, Victor assumed the kidnappers had changed it. But what if? Where is she? Victor said. And that was how he found himself kneeling on marble floor in front of a girl who looked like she had crawled out of the earth itself. Up close, she was even younger than he expected. 16, maybe. Thin as a shadow. Her hair was matted. Her fingernails were black with grime. But her eyes were sharp, intelligent, alive with something he had not seen in the mirror for weeks. Hope, please, he said. Tell me everything. Kira studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke. I live in the old subway tunnels, the ones that do not run anymore. I have been down there for 2 years. I know every sound those tunnels make, every vibration, every echo. She leaned forward. 3 days ago, something changed. New vibrations in the deep tunnel, the sealed section. And yesterday, the tapping started, SOS, in Morse code. My father was Navy. He taught me before I lost him. Victor's hands were shaking. The body they found. The dental records matched. Did you see the body yourself? She asked. No. Did you trust the people who identified it? Victor went very still. The identification had been rushed. The detectives had been too eager to close the case, too certain. At the time, he thought it was mercy, sparing him the pain. Now he wondered if it was something else entirely. What do you need from me? He asked. Nothing, Kira said. I am going back down to find whoever is trapped in that tunnel. I just thought you should know, in case it is your son, in case you want to be there when I pull him out. She stood up. I am leaving now. You can come, or not. Wait, Victor said. If this is real, if Christopher is down there, we need equipment, rescue teams, medical personnel. No time, Kira said. And they would not fit anyway. The entrance I use is barely wide enough for me. Maybe wide enough for you if you are not too proud to crawl through dirt and darkness. Victor looked at this impossible girl, this stranger who lived in places he had never imagined, who heard things no one else could hear, who was offering him something he had already buried. A chance. I am not too proud, he said. Then move. If this story has already grabbed you, if you are feeling what I am feeling, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people discover stories like this. Stories that matter. Stories about the people we overlook every single day. Now let me take you into the darkness. The entrance was behind a rusted fence in an alley that smelled like urine and rotting food. Victor had walked past places like this 1,000,000 times in his life, never seeing them, never imagining people lived here, survived here. Kira moved the fence aside like it weighed nothing. Behind it, a hole in the concrete wall. Darkness beyond. Absolute and complete. Stay close, she said. Do not touch the walls unless I tell you. Watch where I step. Some of the ground is not stable. She slipped through the opening like water. Victor followed, and immediately his world became black. The smell hit him first. Damp earth, mold, something chemical he could not name. His expensive shoes sank into something soft and wet. He swallowed his revulsion and kept moving. Ahead, a small light appeared. Kira had pulled out a flashlight, homemade from a plastic bottle and some kind of lead. It cast a weak, wavering glow across walls that wept moisture. How long have you been down here? Victor asked. His voice echoed strangely in the narrow space. Long enough, Kira said. She did not elaborate. They walked deeper. The tunnel sloped downward. Victor's breathing got harder. The air felt thin, used up. He thought about Christopher breathing this air, trapped, alone, dying. It made him move faster. The tunnel narrowed. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness. Something skittered across the ground. Rats, probably. Victor had never been afraid of the dark before, but this was different. This was the kind of darkness that had weight, that pressed against you. That made you understand how small you really were. How do you survive down here? He asked. You learn, Kira said simply. You learn which places are safe, which people to avoid, how to stay quiet, how to stay invisible. She paused. You learn that the world above does not care if you live or die, so you stop expecting it to. Victor felt something crack inside his chest. I am sorry, he said. For what? For not knowing. For walking over you every day. For never asking if anyone was down here. Kira glanced back at him. The flashlight made her face look ghostly. Everyone walks over us, she said. You are not special in that. They walked for what felt like hours, but was probably 20 minutes. Victor's legs ached. His suit was ruined. His hands were scraped from catching himself against rough walls. None of it mattered. All that mattered was the possibility that his son was still breathing somewhere in this darkness. Finally, Kira stopped. Here, she said. She pointed to what looked like solid wall. But when Victor looked closer, he saw it. A gap at the bottom, hidden behind rubble. The panel she had mentioned. I will go first, she said. If he is there, I need to assess his condition before we try to move him. If he is injured badly, moving him wrong could kill him. I am coming with you, Victor said. You will slow me down. I am coming with you. She stared at him, then nodded once. Fine, but listen carefully. It gets narrow, very narrow. Keep your breathing steady. If you panic, you will get stuck. If you get stuck, do not thrash. Tell me, and I will pull you through. Understand? Yes. One more thing, she said. Her voice was softer now, almost kind. If he is dead when we get there, if we are too late, I need you to hold it together until we get back to the surface. I cannot carry both you and a body. Okay, Victor nodded. He did not trust his voice. Kira dropped to her stomach and slid into the gap. Victor watched her disappear into the earth like a ghost. Then he followed. The crawl space was hell. Concrete inches from his face. Darkness so complete he could not see his own hands in front of him. The weight of the entire city pressing down from above. His breath came fast. Panicked. He wanted to scream, to claw his way back out. Breathe. Kira's voice came from ahead. Calm, steady, like she had done this 1,000 times. You are doing fine. Just keep pulling yourself forward. 10 more feet. He focused on her voice, pulled himself forward with his elbows, felt his jacket tear on something sharp, felt something wet soak through his shirt. Did not care, just kept moving toward the sound of her voice. Then hands grabbed his wrists and pulled. He spilled out into a larger space, gasping like a drowning man. Kira's flashlight swept across what looked like an old subway platform, half collapsed. Water dripped from somewhere above. Rats scattered from the light. And there, slumped against the far wall, was Christopher. Victor's cry was not human. It was the sound of a soul being torn in half. He lunged forward, but Kira caught his arm. Wait, she said. Look first. Christopher was unconscious. His face was gray. His lips were cracked and bleeding. The brown leather coat was filthy, but intact. His hands were bloody. From tapping the wall, Victor realized with horror. How long had he been signaling? How many hours had he beaten his hands raw, hoping someone would hear? Kira knelt beside him, 2 fingers to his neck. Pulse is there, she said. Weak, but there. She lifted his eyelids. Pupils, responsive. That is good. She ran her hands over his body with practiced efficiency. Severely dehydrated, probably septic, maybe hypothermic, but alive. That last word broke Victor. He fell to his knees beside his son. Christopher, he whispered. Christopher, I am here. I am so sorry. I am here now. Christopher's fingers twitched. Barely, but it was something. We need to get him out, Kira said. But we cannot go back through the crawl space. Not with him unconscious. There is another way. Longer, harder, but wide enough to carry him. What do you need? Victor asked. Help, she said. Real help. Your security team. EMTs who are not afraid of the dark. And they need to come now. Victor pulled out his phone. No signal. Of course not. I have to go back up, he said. Get them. Bring them down. No. Kira was already stripping off her coat, making a pillow for Christopher's head. You stay with your son. I will go. I am. Faster. I know the way. I cannot let you. You do not let me do anything, she said. Her voice was sharp. I am not yours to command. I am trying to save him because… She stopped, swallowed hard. Because no one should die alone in the dark. So stay. Talk to him. Let him know he is not alone anymore. She pressed the flashlight into Victor's hand. Do not move from this spot. I will be back in an hour, maybe less. Wait, Victor said. What is your name? She paused at the edge of the darkness. Kira. Kira, he said. Thank you. For hearing him. For not walking away. She nodded once. Then, she was gone. Swallowed by the tunnel. Victor turned to his son. Christopher looked so small. When had he gotten so grown? When had Victor last really looked at him? Between board meetings and conference calls and business trips to Beijing and London and Dubai, when had he last sat with his son and just been present? I am here, Victor whispered. He took Christopher's cold hand. I am here now, and I am not leaving. Not ever again. Christopher's fingers twitched again. His lips moved. No sound came out, but Victor leaned closer. Dad, Christopher breathed. So quiet, it was barely there. Victor's tears fell onto his son's face. Yes, yes, I am here. Stay with me. Just stay with me. Kira brought them back. The whole cavalry, EMTs with portable stretchers, security with floodlights, a structural engineer to make sure the tunnel would not collapse. They looked at her like she was a hallucination, this filthy girl leading them into the earth to save a billionaire's son. But she did not care what they thought. She just led them to Christopher. The extraction took hours. They had to stabilize him first. 4 fluids, oxygen, warming blankets. His vitals were barely there. Pulse thready, blood pressure dangerously low. But he was fighting, holding on. They carried him out on a stretcher through the wider tunnel Kira had known about, the one that came up in an old maintenance building 6 blocks away. When they finally emerged into daylight, the sun was rising, gold and pink across the buildings, the most beautiful thing Victor had ever seen. Christopher was loaded into an ambulance. Victor climbed in beside him, but before the doors closed, he looked back. Kira stood in the shadow of the building, still filthy, still small, watching with those sharp gray eyes. Come with us, Victor called. She shook her head. He needs doctors, not me. I need to know how to find you, Victor said. To thank you, to help you, to… You do not owe me anything, she said. She turned to go. Yes, I do. Victor climbed back out of the ambulance, walked to her. Up close, he could see she was shaking. From cold or exhaustion or fear, he could not tell. You saved my son's life. Please, let me help you. I do not need help, she said. Yes, you do. He said it gently. And maybe I need you to let me. Maybe I need to do something good, something real. She looked at him for a long time. Your son is dying, she said. Go. The ambulance doors closed. As they pulled away, Victor watched her through the window. She stood there until they turned the corner. Then she disappeared like smoke. Christopher survived. Barely. Kidney damage from dehydration. Infection from rat bites. 3 broken ribs from his initial escape. Psychological trauma that would take years to unpack. But alive, breathing, fighting. The story came out in pieces. Through fevered confessions in the hospital. Through police interviews. Through Christopher's nightmares. The kidnappers had panicked when they got the ransom money. Decided a living witness was too dangerous. They meant to kill him, dump him in the river. But Christopher fought back, broke free, ran into what he thought was a subway entrance, hoping it would lead somewhere safe. He got lost in the dark. The kidnappers sealed the entrance behind him, figured he would die down there, quieter than murder, cleaner. They killed someone else, a homeless man, no family, no one to miss him. They switched the dental records through a corrupt medical examiner's assistant, made it look like the heir had been found dead. Case closed. They could disappear with the money, except they had not counted on Kira, on someone who listened to the city's forgotten places, on someone who knew the language of desperate tapping in the dark. Victor had the police search for her, every resource, every connection, but Kira had vanished. No records, no social media, no fingerprints in any system. She was a ghost. 3 weeks later, Victor went back to the tunnel entrance himself. She was there, sitting on a piece of cardboard, eating a sandwich she had probably pulled from a dumpster behind a deli. "You are persistent," she said when she saw him. "Can I sit?" he asked. She shrugged. He sat. His suit got dirty. He did not care. "Christopher is awake," Victor said. "Talking, asking about you. He wants to meet you." "Good," she said. Took another bite of sandwich. "He says he heard you," Victor continued. "In the tunnel. Before I got there. Says he heard you talking to yourself, figuring out where the tapping was coming from. Says your voice kept him going, knowing someone heard him." Kira did not respond. "I have been thinking," Victor said, "about how you live down there, about how many others live down there, about how I walk past those grates every single day and never think about what is underneath." He paused. "I want to do something. Shelters, programs, real ones, not just check-writing charity, something that actually helps." "Good," Kira said. "I need your help," he said. She looked up. "Why?" "Because you know that world. I do not. I will just throw money at it and feel good about myself while changing nothing. But you know what people actually need, what would actually work." She stared at him. "You do not know me. I could be a liar, a con artist, someone running a long game." "Are you?" he asked. "No." "Then help me." Kira was quiet for a long time. "I cannot work in an office," she finally said, "or wear heels, or smile at people who do not mean it." "I do not care what you wear," Victor said, "and I am tired of people who smile and mean nothing." "I do not know anything about business," she said, "or nonprofits, or how your world works." "You knew how to find my son when the entire police force had given up," Victor said. "You are the smartest person I have met in 10 years. I am not asking you to be someone else. I am asking you to be exactly who you are. Just somewhere warm, somewhere safe." Her eyes glistened. "Just slightly. I had a place before," she said. "It did not last. This will," he said. "You cannot promise that." "No," Victor admitted, "but I can try, and if it falls apart, I will help you build it again, and again, as many times as it takes." Kira looked down at her sandwich, at her filthy hands, at the life she had carved out in the margins of the world. "One condition," she said. "Anything. I still go into the tunnels," she said. "Check on the others. Bring food, supplies. I do not abandon them just because I got out." "Deal," Victor said. She took his offered hand. Her grip was stronger than he expected. "Take a breath for a second. I need you to drop a comment and tell me if you saw any of this coming. And stay with me, because what happens next will surprise you." It was not easy. Kira did not integrate smoothly into the Meridian household. She hoarded food for months, hid granola bars under her mattress, stashed bottles of water in her closet, even though the kitchen was always full, even though no one would take it away. She woke up screaming from nightmares, thrashing, fighting invisible enemies. She could not sleep in the soft bed they gave her. "Too vulnerable," she said, "too exposed." She slept on the floor for 6 months before she felt safe enough to try the mattress. She and Christopher circled each other like wounded animals at first, both traumatized, both saved and saver. The dynamic was complicated. How do you talk to someone who pulled you from death? How do you be normal with someone who heard you dying? But slowly, carefully, they learned each other. Christopher taught her to play chess, showed her how the pieces moved, how to think 3 steps ahead, how to protect your king while going on the attack. She taught him how to move silently, how to read the city's sounds, how to know when someone was following you, how to survive when everything was taken from you. They never called each other siblings. That felt forced, fake, but they became something else, something earned. 2 people who understood what it meant to be left for dead and to claw your way back to living. Kira worked with Victor on the shelter project. She was brutal in meetings, told wealthy donors exactly what their solutions would and would not do, did not smile when they said stupid things, did not pretend their charity galas made a difference. Some people hated her, called her ungrateful, rude, difficult, but the people the shelters served loved her because she never forgot, never pretended she was not one of them, never acted like getting out made her better. She still went into the tunnels every week, brought supplies, food, clean water, blankets. Sometimes she brought people out who were ready. She never forced anyone, just offered, just reminded them there was a world above if they wanted it. Old Marcus died that first winter. Kira sat with him at the end, in his corner of the tunnels, holding his hand, telling him he mattered, that someone would remember. Victor came down too, sat in the dirt in his expensive coat. They buried Marcus properly, name on a headstone, flowers, someone to remember. 2 years after the rescue, Kira stood on a subway platform, the real one, the one with trains and schedules and people going places. She was cleaner now, hair cut and washed, clothes that fit, but her eyes still held that sharpness, that knowing. Christopher stood beside her. They were going to a Mets game, something normal, something wonderfully, impossibly ordinary. "Do you ever miss it?" Christopher asked. "The tunnels." Kira thought about it. "Parts of it," she said. "The quiet, the simplicity, knowing exactly what you are fighting against." "What are you fighting now?" he asked. She smiled. "It came easier these days. Forgetting," she said. "Forgetting where I came from, who is still there, why it matters." The train came, brakes squealing, doors opening. They got on, found seats. "Thank you," Christopher said quietly, "for not giving up, for listening when no one else did." Kira looked at him. This boy who had survived the impossible, this family that had taken her in not because of what she could be, but because of what she had already been. "Thank you for tapping," she said, "for making noise, for refusing to die quiet." He took her hand, squeezed once. Outside the windows, the city blurred past, above ground and below, light and dark, the forgotten and the found, all of it connected, all of it fragile, all of it worth saving. 5 years later, the Meridian Foundation had 32 shelters across the country, real ones, with counselors and job training and medical care, with doors that did not lock from the outside, places people could leave if they wanted, but most stayed because they were treated like humans, not problems to solve. Kira ran the whole operation. She was 23 now, still sharp, still fierce, still disappeared into the tunnel sometimes when the weight of the world above got too heavy. Christopher worked with her. He had abandoned his expected path, business school, MBA, corner office in the Meridian Empire. Instead, he studied social work, trauma counseling, how to help people who had survived the unsurvivable. Victor had stepped back from most of his business operations, made Christopher and Kira co-executors of his estate, not because they were family in the traditional sense, but because they were family in the way that mattered. Chosen, earned, built from broken pieces. On the 5-year anniversary of the rescue, they went back to the tunnel together. All 3 of them. The entrance was still there, behind the rusted fence in the alley, but now there was a small plaque. Kira had fought against it, but Victor insisted. It read, "In memory of all those who survive in forgotten places, you are seen, you are heard, you matter." They stood there as the city moved around them. Car horns, distant sirens, the endless rhythm of people going about their lives. "I hear them sometimes," Kira said softly, "in my dreams. The tapping, everyone who is still down there, signaling, hoping someone is listening." "We are listening," Christopher said. "We will always listen," Victor added. Kira nodded. Then she pulled out a flashlight, a real one now, not homemade, and she clicked it 3 times. Flash, flash, flash. From deep in the tunnel, barely audible, a sound echoed back. Tap, tap, tap. Someone was there. Someone was calling. And Kira, who knew what it meant to be abandoned, to be forgotten, to be left for dead in the dark, smiled. "Come on," she said, rolling up her sleeves. "Someone needs us." They descended together, into the earth, into the place where Kira had once survived alone, where Christopher had nearly died, where Victor had learned that wealth meant nothing if you could not see the people living in the shadows of your towers, down where the city kept its secrets and its forgotten, down where the lost waited to be found, down where a homeless girl had once refused to let death be the final word. And in the darkness, they listened, because that is what this story is really about. Listening, paying attention, seeing the people everyone else walks past. Kira was homeless, society's invisible, the kind of person you step over on your way to somewhere important. But she saw what no one else did, because she paid attention to the places everyone else ignored. Christopher was declared dead, case closed, body identified, funeral planned. But one person refused to accept it. One person kept listening. Victor had all the money in the world, could buy anything, fix anything, but it took a girl with nothing to show him what actually mattered. Here is what I want you to take from this. The people we overlook might be the ones who save us. The voices we ignore might be the ones speaking truth. The places we walk past every single day might hold someone who is drowning and desperate and hoping someone will hear. So, pay attention, listen, see the invisible, because everyone has value. Everyone deserves to be heard. Your circumstances do not define your worth. Your bank account does not measure your importance. Your address does not determine whether you matter. Kira mattered. The homeless man the kidnappers murdered to fake Christopher's death, he mattered too. Old Marcus with his shopping carts full of wire, he mattered. Every single person living in those tunnels, surviving in the margins, they all matter. And someone out there right now is tapping, sending up signals, hoping desperately that someone will hear. Will you listen? If this story moved you, do not just walk away. Hit that subscribe button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who feels invisible. Someone who has forgotten that they matter. Drop a comment below about a time you felt invisible, or a time you saw someone everyone else missed. Let us build a community of people who pay attention, who listen, who refuse to let anyone die quiet in the dark. And remember, someone is always tapping. Someone is always calling out. The question is not whether they are there. The question is whether you are listening. This is Mr. David Love Stories, reminding you that the most powerful love is the kind that sees people everyone else has forgotten, the kind that hears what no one else can hear, the kind that refuses to walk away when everyone else already has. Keep listening, keep seeing, keep loving the invisible, because you never know when you might be the only person standing between someone and death. You never know when your attention might be the miracle someone is praying for. Thank you for watching. Now go out there and see someone, really see them. It might just save a life.